India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has declared victory in his re-election bid. His supporters began celebrating across the country. The vote count continues, but Modi and his political party are on track to secure their win over the opposition.
Modi is considered a nationalist. He campaigned as a hardliner on foreign policy and by invoking threats to people's safety. BBC News correspondent Yogita Limaye is following the latest in Varanasi, India. That's in the northern part of the country. Yogita, thanks so much for joining us. What's been the reaction there so far to Modi and his party's apparent victory?
Well, this is actually the Prime Minister's constituency, so Narendra Modi stands from here. He's won this election by more than 475,000 votes. It's something that the people of this city particularly tell me they expected. They thought he would have a comfortable victory. What we've seen since that news came in is sort of the spontaneous street parties break out. Just a short while ago, this market I'm in, there were people here who were bursting crackers, they were beating drums, they were distributing sweets, and that's something we've seen not just here in the city of Varanasi, but in cities around India, really. There are scenes from the BJP, his party's headquarters in Delhi, where there's just been a massive crowd and rose petals have been showered on them. I've been asking people here why they support Modi. They've told me they believe he's a strong leader, someone who can defend the country, and that's why they wanted to give him another chance, and they wanted to see him back not just as MP, but also as the Prime Minister. Of course, you know, he is accused of playing divisive politics, so there are many in the country who are also warning of what perhaps might come in the 5 years ahead.
So I want to talk a little bit more about that, what his appeal is. I mean, India has its problems, there's a high unemployment rate, but not only is he going to remain the Prime Minister, but in Parliament he has a more commanding, the party has more commanding control of Parliament now than it did before. So that means this country really supports him. Why?
Well, yes, I mean, with that kind of a mandate, his government should be able to push through its economic and social agenda through Parliament pretty easily. There have been a lot of problems during Mr. Modi's time in power. We've seen a major farming crisis, farmers' protests like never before. We've also seen rising unemployment, like you pointed out. There have been deepening social and religious divides as well. But when I went around asking people, you know, who they were planning to vote for or who they supported, one of the things, you know, one of the key things is that he's an excellent communicator. He's been able to get his word out, his message out to people like no other politician in India, and that's why he has that kind of mass appeal and almost cult following. Analysts also say it's the lack of a strong opposition that could have contributed to today's results. But I think the key thing was a few months before the elections, we had these heightened tensions with Pakistan. India claimed that it launched attacks in Pakistani territory. The Prime Minister capitalized on that during his campaign, and so many people I spoke to when they were going out to cast their vote said national security was a big issue for them, and they felt that Narendra Modi was the leader who could defend this country.
And Yogita, as you know, politics in India can be extremely polarizing. I mean, I've seen over the course of this election cycle debates about Mahatma Gandhi that have galvanized people for the rest of the world. Gandhi remains a singular figure, and even in India, in this election cycle, he's become polarizing. Modi's members and the party's members have been accused of escalating tensions with the country's Muslim population. So what does that mean for those different cultures within India?
Well, indeed, you know, many have seen this election as a battle for India's secular identity. One of the candidates fielded by Mr. Modi's party is a woman accused of plotting bombings against the Muslim community. She's in fact won the election today, and you know, many of the people from the party have supported her. So of course, you know, these questions being raised about what this means for the future of this country, you know, as a union of different religions and cultures. Mr. Modi, though, today, in reaction to the results on social media, put out a pretty unifying message, said we should work towards a strong and inclusive society, and India wins again. So I think we'd have to wait to see whether some of those were political compulsions because he had to appeal to this country's Hindu majority, or whether he actually believes in that and whether that's actually going to be a part of his agenda over the next 5 years.
Well, clearly his supporters are elated. We're watching some of the video of them celebrating in the streets. Yogita Limaye, thank you so much.
World's largest democracy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Thank you, Yogita.